What's up, everybody? Thanks so much for stopping by my new YouTube channel, Dara Stays Curious. I'm Dara. I'm a senior UX designer who is pivoting into cybersecurity. And so this channel is about me documenting my journey doing so, as well as looking at and exploring the intersections between design thinking and secure design, because I think that the field of design has a lot to contribute to cybersecurity, to designing and building more resilient and more secure systems. So that's what I'm going to be exploring here, as well as looking at all the things that I'm doing to actually pivot into becoming a cloud security engineer. So if you stop by this video, it's probably because you too are thinking about writing the CompTIA Security Plus exam. And so in this video, I'm going to delve into how I passed the CompTIA Security Plus exam on my first attempt, and just kind of talking about all of the things that I did, some of the lessons that I learned, things I might have done differently now that I know what I know. So I'm going to stop this clip and let us take a look at what I did to actually pass the Security Plus exam on my first attempt. All right, folks, so I am a visual thinker, and because I'm a designer, I use Figma. So I just spun up a quick diagram in Figma to help me talk through what I did to pass the Security Plus exam. So I wrote the SY0-701, which is the most current version of CompTIA Security Plus exam. I wrote it on January 2nd, and I'm just going to kind of use this diagram to go through the steps of what I did to pass the exam. So hopefully that's helpful to you, right? So let us just kind of come down here. So the first thing that I did was that I watched the entire Professor Messer video series. I watched it on 2x speed. It's a little bit hard at first, but you can quickly train your ear, maybe start at 1.25, then bump it up to 1.5 to 1.75, all the way up to 2. And that helped me to go through the content, because I think it's like 11 hours worth of content, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. So that allowed me to quickly go through the material. Now, when I was looking at the videos, I was not taking that much notes. I was just maybe jotting down the main points on there, and I used a software called Obsidian to take my notes, right? And in these notes, I created flashcard style notes so that I didn't have to do double work. You don't want to do notes and then do flashcards afterwards. I think flashcards are efficient enough, and so that's what I did. So I created flashcard notes, and the things that I was jotting down in these flashcard notes were main concepts, right? Ports and protocols and acronyms. These are the three main things that you need to know cold in order to pass the exam. So I just focused on that. When you're doing note taking, you want to just cut the meat from, you want to cut the fat from the actual meat. You just want to distill your notes down to what is actually important to know, right? So as you're taking these notes, ask yourself, like, what could come on the exam? What ways could they kind of trick me, right? And so you create your notes that way. Now, I created my notes in my Obsidian vault, and I will show you a bit about what that vault looks like now before we go on to the rest of the steps. All right, folks, so now we are in my Obsidian vault. I created an Obsidian vault to house all of the note-taking, everything that I'm going to be learning on this journey to cybersecurity. So if you don't know what Obsidian is a note-taking software that you can use as a second brain. The concept of a second brain is that when you've got to learn something, there are a lot of related concepts that come along with that, and you need one place to store everything. So it's kind of offloading all of this information you have to learn, offloading it from your brain, right? From your overworked brain, and putting it down into a digital source where you can quickly access the information that you need and hopefully draw links to it. There's many softwares that you can use. I chose Obsidian because I feel that Obsidian has a really good way of mapping things out. As you can see, I just kind of animated my graph. Obsidian creates a graph out of all of your nodes. Now, each one of these nodes that you see here is an actual note that I wrote, that I've written so far on this journey for studying cybersecurity, right? And it helps you to kind of visualize how different concepts are related and maybe see where there are gaps between concepts. So it's a really good software to use. And because of this, I created a whole cybersecurity map that I'm using, that I actually have on my website, that you could purchase if you are interested in learning cybersecurity. It has all of my notes for Security Plus, all of the flashcards that I have created, as well as my entire roadmap. So I'm going to quickly go through this, as well as talk specifically about Security Plus notes. So let's go to my dashboard. All right, and this is what my dashboard looks like, right? And so you can see that I have my dashboard separated by, core cyber domains, fundamentals that I need to learn, cloud security, GRC, vulnerability management, security tools, hands-on practice, emerging tech, thought leadership, career and business, and, resources as well. So if we go to the Security Plus section of my vault, okay, so this is what the Security Plus section looks like. So we have what the pass mark is supposed to be, that I was supposed to be aiming for, and I created a course Kanban, right, with all of my notes for the Security Plus. Now, each one of these cards represents a different note. I actually finished these, so let me put these in the done column, right? And so if I actually click here, right, you can see all of my notes for ports and protocols, right? And they're written in this kind of weird format, but what this does is, when you see a triple colon here, what this does is this actually converts this note into a flashcard itself. So each line here is a different flashcard. So that's what those notes are, right? I also created Security Plus quick study sheets for each domain, right? So for example, if we go to the Domain 2 study sheet, right? Domain 2 is about threats, vulnerabilities, and mitigations. And so each of these is a toggle, right, that I can kind of study with. So it acts just like a flashcard too, right? Now, the flashcards themselves are right here. So for Security Plus, you can see I created a total of 2,052 flashcards. If I toggle this here, you can see that I have the flashcards separated by subdomain, right? So for one, I have all of the acronyms and everything. So let's look at what a flashcard looks like. So change management, right? So does the owner control the change control process, right? And the answer for that is no, right? So that's just an example of one of the flashcards. So so I created flashcards and quick study sheets to help me kind of remember the most important information, and what I did was that I drilled all of that here. So that's just a quick look at my Obsidian vault. If you are also interested in creating in studying for cybersecurity and you need an organized system, feel free to check mine out and see if it's useful for you. It was really helpful for me to kind of keep all of my thoughts organized and together. So let's go back now to the diagram that I created, and we'll continue talking about what else I did to pass the Security Plus exam. All right, folks, so we are back at my diagram here in Figma. So we just went through what my Obsidian vault consisted of and the type of notes I took while watching the Professor Messer video series. You want to make sure while you're watching this video series that you're really focusing on trying to understand the concepts themselves and just really distilling it down to the most simple information and putting that information into your own words. It'll go a long way in helping you actually be able to remember and recall the information in the exam. So I watched the video series, I took my notes, my flashcard notes in Obsidian. I focused on main concepts, ports and protocols, and acronyms. The next thing that I did was that I got a bunch of practice exams. So I did practice exams from, practice tests from Exam Compass, Exam Topics, Login Pacific, which is Josh Madacor's company, right? So shout out to him. He's a great cybersecurity YouTuber that you need to follow. He gives excellent information, right? And then I also, of course, bought the practice exams from Professor Messer and Jason Dion. So what I did with Exam Compass, Exam Topics, and Log Pacific, these are more like individual questions, and I went through, I did every single question there that I could, right? And then what I did was with Professor Messer and Jason Dion's exam, practice exams, I did them under timed conditions, right? So we know that the exam is 90 minutes. You can get a maximum of 90 questions. You get a mix of multiple choice and PBQs, which are performance-based questions, right? And so you could get as many as 90 or, or fewer, depending on, I feel like how it goes is that the more questions you answer right, it kind of adjusts its algorithm to see how many PBQs it's going to give you. I mean, the more multiple choice questions you get right? Also, what I did was I flagged the PBQs and just focused on all of the multiple choice questions first and then returned to do the actual PBQs. So yes, you can actually flag those questions and then come back to them later. And that just helped me to be a little bit efficient with my time during the exam, right? So I did these practice exams. And then the next thing that I did was, after doing these practice exams, I just continued to just really drill all of these flashcards over and over and over again until the day before my exam, right? And then I passed the exam, right? So let's talk about exam day. I chose to do the exam in person because I heard that it's a bit of a pain in the butt to actually do it online. And so I wanted to do it in person. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about this in another video, but I've since moved from where I was, and I may have to start doing these exams online if I can't find a testing center close enough to where I'm currently living. But I just wanted to do the first one in person. So I got to the exam center about 15 minutes early, went, signed in, sat down to write the exam. I was really nervous, and just kind of went through the questions. And at a certain point, I got to, I think it was question 73, right? And then I clicked next to do the next question, and then I saw that it said that, okay, well, you're done. You can review now or you can submit. So I was really confused because I forgot that it's a maximum of 90 questions, but I guess depending on how many you get right, it gives you less questions or something. So I was really confused, and then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I did okay. um, Let me just review it. So I hit review. I looked at all the questions that I had, and I decided that I wasn't going to change anything, because I heard that usually when you second guess yourself and you change something, you end up changing a right answer to a wrong answer. So I didn't want to do that. So I was just like, okay, whatever. I hit submit, and then I saw that I passed the exam, and I was floored because I had been studying for this for a while. I'll say this, that I have both ADHD and a learning disability that makes it a little bit challenging when I'm studying things. I can learn, I just got to put a little bit more effort into it than other people who don't deal with those challenges do. So I was really relieved that I passed the exam. And so now let's talk about like how I did on the exam, and let's talk about what's next, right? So let's come here. So I want to become a cloud security engineer, right? That is what I would like to do. Cloud security engineers actually build the systems, build the secure systems that that companies use and need to keep their data and their customers safe. So let's talk about it. So started out, first step for becoming a cloud security engineer is passing the Security Plus exam. Check, I did that. So here you can see a screenshot of my exam certificate, right? I passed the exam on January 2nd, and let's ignore this really unfortunate photo of me, okay? Listen, I just stood up there. The woman said, hey, are you ready? Let me take the pic. And I was just like, no. And she snapped it. So this is what I got. It's horrible. Anyhow, right? So I passed the exam, right? I got a score of 782. Score could have been better, but listen to me. A win is a win. And I'm going to constantly review these concepts so that I know them cold. All right. And so, yeah, I got a 782 out of a 900. If you hear that in the background, that is fireworks. We'll talk about that in another video. I've moved somewhere where fireworks are a regular occurrence. So put in the comments below if you have a guess as to where I have moved to. That could be a thing, right? So anyhow, so you can see here, yes, I did actually pass the exam. There's the proof, right? So first step into becoming a cloud security engineer, I want to pass the Security Plus exam. Step 2, maybe this is a little bit backwards, right? But I actually, now I'm going to watch the CompTIA Network Plus video series by Professor Messer. And I'm not sure if I need to actually write the exam. Reason being, this exam is expensive, okay? It's not cheap to write. And I'm not sure if I just need to have the knowledge and the understanding of the Network Plus, or if I should write the exam. Tell me your thoughts in the comment below. Any security people out there who've been this route, you know, give me some advice. Let me know, should I write the exam, or is it just necessary that I actually know the material, right? So that's step 2. Now, step 3, I am going to do the Google Cybersecurity certificate. Now, the reason that I'm doing that is that certificate is very practical and hands-on versus the Security Plus, which is mostly theoretical and multiple choice. Now, with the Google Cybersecurity certificate, they're going to teach me things like Python and SQL and, you know, give me really hands-on practice. So I'm going to do that. I've also heard with this certificate that for the Python section of the certificate, I might want to also supplement what I'm learning from the certificate with, you know, actual security specific Python projects. So I'm going to do that, right? So that is step 3 for me. And then the next step would be for me to learn a cloud provider. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do, if I'm going to choose the Azure security pathway, right? Which I have mapped out the certificates for that pathway right here, right? Right? Or if I am going to go the AWS security pathway route, and I have mapped out those certificates there, right? But either way, I'm going to choose a platform. Now, eventually, I'm going to learn both. I'm just trying to figure out which one I'm going to focus on first, right? So if you have thoughts on that, let me know in the comments below, right? As well, I want to make sure that I do a lot of documented labs and projects, because this will also give me the practical experience and the skills that I need for the job of becoming a cloud security engineer. So I don't know what those projects are as yet. That's why this looks like project 1, 2, 3, 4. As I do these projects, I'm going to fill this out, right? As well, there are virtual internships that I want to take, right? For example, Qualys has virtual internships, cybersecurity internships, and Tata Global internships has. And I'm going to look for some others as well, because that will give me the real world practical experience of working on real world projects that I can then put on my resume. And then comes the job search, right? So for my job search, my job search strategy is going to consist of me drilling a bunch of interview prep questions for cybersecurity and cloud security, right? Getting my portfolio site / GitHub together, right, with all of the projects that I'm going to be doing, and inviting security professionals and hiring managers to coffee chats over Zoom to introduce myself to them, find out a little bit more about the companies that they work for, what they're looking for, and to see if I'm somebody that they would keep in mind for a junior role at some point. I'm also going to be attending a lot of virtual and in-person networking events for cybersecurity and introducing myself to people there. And I will be applying specifically to contract roles. So that is, in a nutshell, this is my kind of strategy for how I want to go about becoming a cloud security engineer. I'm so glad that I've passed the first step, which is the CompTIA Security Plus exam. And I'm really excited to be on this journey. I love UX design, but I have absolutely fallen heads over heels for cybersecurity. And I'm really interested in seeing what this journey brings for me. So I'm hoping that you'll subscribe. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit the like button. Please turn on notifications, because I'll be posting videos regularly here, deep dive of what I'm actually doing, and as well as how I'm thinking about where cybersecurity and design thinking intersect, and also where they sit in tension with each other, right? So please follow me here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and thanks for stopping by.